September the 7th, 2018 is officially third down again. Friday, guys. It is officially Friday. I'm glad, so happy to be alive on this beautiful Friday afternoon, or whatever you're doing, whatever time you're going to listen to it. Listen, what's misunderstood don't need to be explained. We're going to talk a little bit about LSU, where they got prepared this weekend against Southeastern. Got a little report on the Lions this weekend. We talk a little bit about my top matchups going into this weekend for the college football season. I got about 5 matchups. Talk a little bit about the Eagles and the Falcons from last night, which really wasn't much of a show. It did get good at the end of the game, but talk a little bit about that. Talk about my fantasy team that I drafted this past Wednesday before the season did kick off, and we will talk about the Saints and the Buccaneers for this week 1 matchup on Sunday. And we're also going to talk about some of the top games in the NFL this weekend. I might even touch on the Hall of Fame tonight with the NBA. Some of the NBA guys, some of my people that we grew up with watching going into the Hall of Fame. So we're going to get a little bit about that if we have enough time at the end of the show. If not, we might cover that Monday. But on that note, let's go ahead and jump right to the Bayou Bengals going to play Southeastern this weekend. First home opener of the season. We're getting ready for them this year. I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen with LSU and Southeastern. All-time record between the two programs. LSU is 1-0. The last time these two programs have competed against each other was back in 1949. LSU defeated Southeastern 48-7 back in 1949. So times has really changed since these two programs has really played each other. A lot has happened since 1949. Southeastern last season was 6-5. I believe, I'm just assuming they did miss the playoffs. Key players to watch on the offensive side of the ball. I really don't know too much about the defensive side of the ball, but I did do the offensive side of the ball. Chasen Vergel, I think that's his name, quarterback from the Southeastern Lions. He debuted last week against ULM. He had completed 28 out of 39 of his passes. He had 358 yards, and he had 4 TDs last week, and they still lost to ULM. I guess I don't understand, but ULM only beat him by 3 points. His key receivers, Ryan Pierre Free, 5 catches for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day last week for Southeastern against ULM. Kind of interested to see. I mean, the big light's going to be on from this week. This has always been a team that kind of competes well. They don't really win over the top, but they always kind of compete well. I'm really interested to see how they're going to compete with LSU. I don't see them winning the game, but I really think they're going to compete for a long time. For a very long time, if you ask me. Kelvin Chasen is out for the rest of the year. That was LSU one of the key pass rushers. Kind of see how the defense is going to act since they're losing the pass rushers this year. What I want to see this week is give Burrow more confidence going into Auburn. And I think he should throw for at least 2 touchdowns on tomorrow night. Give him 2 TDs, give him confidence going on the road against Auburn. And, then the buzz, if you give him a little confidence going into a SEC rival game, I think the buzz will be a little bit higher, and I think some people feel more confident when they play that game next week. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do and, how much confidence they're going to store in him throwing the football-wise this weekend against Southeastern. So I'm interested to see. Really, truly, not too much to talk about this matchup. It's not really a big matchup, but I think it's more of a confident matchup for LSU as well. LSU's just trying to get him more comfortable in the system. So that's one thing I really want to pay attention to. And if Southeastern do come firing out on offense, how the defense is going to respond, losing Shason this past weekend against the Miami game. So these are some things I want to see. I think it's going to be a good game. I think LSU will. I think they're a 30-point favorite, I believe. I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but I think they could, easily put up 45, maybe 50 points. But I'd say they put up 42-7. 42-7 would be the final score in this game. I think defense is too talented to play with a team that's, almost beat ULM, and ULM ain't really worth the dirt. So I think 42-7 be your final score. And I think they could put up more points, but I think 42-7 would probably be your final score. I expect to see Miles Brennan in this game as well, see what he's going to do. So that's my theory on LSU this weekend. Let's talk about some of the top matchups of the weekend this year coming in. First thing first, Clemson, A&M. Now, to be honest with you, this game going to tell a lot how far A&M is ready to take the next step of being one of the best teams out there in the SEC West, if you ask me. I say this because not only you face the number 2 ranked team in the country, you face the number 1 ranked team in the country probably in the next couple of weeks as well. So these are 2 major steps that can potentially put this program on the map. Now, I don't think they beat Alabama this year. I don't. And I'm actually looking at Alabama playing Louisville right now from a replay a few nights ago. I don't think they beat Alabama, but I will say this. If they can find a way to muster Clemson around, if they can find a way to at least compete, I think right now, that's what Jimbo Fisher need to put the program at. Ways to compete, to put them in better situations, because they never won the SEC West. They haven't beat their rival yet in LSU yet. These are things that they have to do to become one of the more powerful ones out there in the SEC West. A win against Clemson will put you on notice in that division. Big time. Jimbo Fisher knows Clemson very well. A win against Clemson will put you on notice. Big time. And what that mean if Clemson lose to A&M? Ask me, is almost putting, once again, the steps they take, another team take a step back in the ACC. Now, I think Clemson win this game. I think they win this game probably about 14 points. I think A&M going to compete very, very well. I think they win this game about 14 points. Clemson do lose this game somehow, some way. Another team take a step back in the ACC. And almost to a degree, Virginia Tech would be the front runners. Kind of interesting. Then you start looking at it, almost like, would the ACC be the odd division out this year in the college football playoff? But we a long way from home before we start making them theories for sure. Long way from home. Now, here's one I'm very interested in. USC versus Stanford. One of these teams can set themselves up to be the leader in the Pac-12. The leader. Now, with Washington losing last week to Auburn, now you got another top 15 matchup. Because Stanford number 10. I want to say USC number 12. Another top 15 matchup. This could easily be positioning for later on in the season. I ain't think they played this early, but this is a great game early on. I'm going to be tuned in. Stanford's actually a 6-point favorite to win this ball game. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work this week as well. My next matchup, Georgia, South Carolina. The Bulldogs go on the road to South Carolina. Georgia a 10-point favorite. A lot of people sleeping on South Carolina because South Carolina has improved defensively. I think offense is the main problem to see what they really working with. But at the same time, I want to see how Georgia going to respond on the road against an opponent that's trying to be where Georgia at, Kings of the SEC East. So it's going to be a great matchup with Georgia and South Carolina. Georgia a 10-point favorite. Really don't know how to break that one down. Arizona State and Michigan State. Arizona State won last week with Herman coming back from off of ESPN in his debut with Arizona State against Michigan State. Michigan State is a top 15 team ranked. Arizona State trying to find themselves in the mix of the Pac-12 as well. If you win this game, you kind of put yourselves a little bit in the mix. Now, Michigan State is only a 6-point favorite, so it's going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch that one on tomorrow night because I know that's a late night game. So that's going to be a great, great football game. And also tomorrow, Oklahoma and UCLA. Chip Kelly going to play in Oklahoma. I want to see how he's going to bring his – and he lost last week. See how he gonna bring his offense. See what he working with. It's not really much of a game because they're a 30-point favorite. Oklahoma's a 30-point favorite, and they probably will. They might cover that spread, but at the same time, I'm just interested to see how Chip Kelly gonna respond after losing week 1, and what he's gonna do in week 2 offensively. So other than that, guys, those are my top matchups going into the week. I think we're gonna pay attention, talk a little bit about them on Monday. Also, we get back to LSU and what they're gonna do against Southeastern on Monday as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons on last night. Really wasn't too much of a ball game until actually it got good at the end. I can't lie about that. It really did get good at the end because the first couple of quarters, it was just like, man, like bad snaps, balls rolling back to the quarterback. Matt Ryan looked out of sync. He looked out of sync all game, if you ask me. But I'm interested to see what's going to happen with both teams going forward. So let's talk a little bit about the score last night. It was 18-12 was the final score in this ball game. Atlanta had a chance to win, just like the playoff game this past year. Atlanta had a chance to win. At the end, pushed out of bounds. Ball game was over with 1 second left on the clock. And the Philadelphia Eagles wound up winning the game week 1, day 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's talk about both quarterbacks. Nick Foles with 19 for 34, 117 yards and 1 interception. Matt Ryan with 21 for 43. He threw the ball 43 times, 251 yards and 1 interception. Now here's the big playmaker to me. Devontae Freeman, 6 carries for 38 yards. They could not establish the run as well as the Falcons. Now remember what I told y'all a few days ago. Can the Falcons establish their run game again? When they went to the Super Bowl that year, they was moving bodies up front on the offensive line, being able to go to the zone plays, stretch people from sideline to sideline to have cutback lanes back inside. And that's something Atlanta haven't had since Kyle Shanahan left. That's going to be interesting to see going forward in the season. Julio Jones had 10 catches for 169 yards last night. Jay Ajayi rushed for 15 carries, 62 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Zach Ertz was the lead receivers for the Philadelphia Eagles. 5 receptions for 48 yards last night. I mean, like I said, I wasn't too impressed with both teams, if you ask me. I mean, both teams didn't look too good. Philadelphia struggled in the preseason. Remember when they played the Cleveland Browns? They really struggled against the Browns a few weeks ago. But I told my brother this earlier. I said the team that's going to turn around quick will be Philadelphia, because Philadelphia going to get Carson Wentz back eventually. I think right now Nick Foles is trying to set himself up to be at least in the mix to be talked about maybe as another quarterback somewhere else, playing for somebody. I always say I think Nick Foles should have been the quarterback for the Denver Broncos this year, me personally. And if you ask me, if Miami don't work out, he could easily go be the quarterback over there for the Miami Dolphins. But I want to see how Nick gonna respond next week in week 2. Didn't have the best of day, but so did his counterpart on the other side, Matt Ryan. This is a former NFL MVP. And the thing about Atlanta to me, offensively, to say how much talent they have between Jones, Sanu, Calvin Ridley. They got a two-headed monster at running back with Coleman and also with Devontae Freeman. And they got a solid line. It's not one of the best, but it's solid. It was strength on strength last night. Defense versus offense. Philadelphia is more solid, if you ask me, on defense than offense. Atlanta is top 5 offense versus the top 5 defense. There should have been more done than 12 points last night if you are the Atlanta Falcons. You didn't put a passing touchdown in the box week 1. There should have been more done. I'm telling you, more should have been done yesterday than what there was. Philadelphia kind of played safe. Bend don't break last night, if you ask me. But like I'm telling you, more should have been done if you're a top 5 offense. And I